So last week was Mother's Day on Sunday, and it's all the moms, how much value they provide in who we are and how we show up to the world. And as we were talking about that, one of the things that came to mind was we look to those that we feel that are teaching us or that we should be learning from, and that are like that role model, that very natural role model. But then what about others that we feel like we should be their teachers, and keeping an open mind of what can we learn from them? For example, like I happen to have 4 children, 4 daughters, and they amaze me all the time with the things that they say, the way that they think, the way of purity that they exhibit and that they bring forth in their own way of seeing things more clearly, more purely. And so one funny story that or one funny experience I had the other day, very often when I'm in between decisions and I'm really not clear of like which way I should go. And my daughter said to me, she said, "So did you make that decision? Did you go for it?" And it happened to be like a work engagement I was considering. And I said, "No, actually, I didn't." And she turned around and she says, "Great decision." And I'm like, where did that come from? She is 10 years old. She doesn't know much about business. She's in 4th grade, but she intuitively felt.
Yeah.
And as I was inquiring about why she thought that, she said, it wasn't aligned with your values. And I thought, wow, I am not sure I ever thought that way at 10 years old. But it just comes to a point where I felt that there's so much I can learn from them, so much I can tune into, and what a great experience and what a great relationship that is when you are not always just the one as the mother to show them and teach them this is how you should be doing this or that, but actually keeping that open mind and learning and taking it in from a perspective that perhaps you didn't consider might be there. And I'd love to hear, Betska, from your point of view. I know you're a mom too. You have a daughter. It's like, what are your thoughts on that?
I just think kids are brilliant, period. And as you were talking about your 10-year-old and her wisdom, our daughter, when she was a young teenager, she had a soccer accident and had to have major surgeries on her knee and so on. And wow, what I learned from her was that value of perseverance, because she realized, yes, she's got an injury, but she never gave up. She would do her exercises, whatever the physio told her, what the doctor told her, and she believed in herself, and she was able to overcome it. And then also she had some major concussions through some sports accidents, right? And the same thing there. The perseverance, she never gave up. She always so the perseverance was there, but then there was also that faith and that hope. And I know, Rod, you love that word of faith, right? She had faith and she had hope, and she's always done extremely well and always encouraged us to do the same, whenever we get down or whatever. She's out of the mouth of babes is that phrase, right? The wisdom that they have and carry with them is quite something.
It's a level of resilience that builds, like that persistence just builds that resilience that at that time it might have been sports, but like throughout her life, there will be situations again when she is put down or when she falls down. And the question is not whether or not you fall down. You always fall down one way or another, but it's like, are you able to get back up? Yes. I love that. I really do. And I think the faith component of that too. And Raj, I think to Betska's point, you spoke into that before. I think that belief and that faith that everything will be all right. that things are happening for a reason, that we are experiencing, we are creating, we always have a learning out of these situations. I think that really oftentimes, I know in like the deepest and darkest moments, that was what carried me through. Raj, I'm curious, like what your experience is with that.
I have learned this experience from my niece and nephews. Once they are very small, like 10-year, 12-year-old. So, you know what I learned from that experience side? Whatever we are doing, like I'm studying like something, I'm talking with someone in phone, or like I'm doing something. So what I learned very strong thing, one day I realized my niece, she's following same thing whatever I'm doing in my uh, friend with, or my like social circle. So and well, in the very young age, like 10-year or 8-year-old children, she's applying. And so like I feel very uh, emotional and very strong ki how children are learning and grabbing through without educating. Like I didn't say you learn this. She just grabbed through my activities.
Yes.
This is the
She
very
was
strong
watching.
point I
Yeah, just
learned.
observe. She was just observing and watching you,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So that things I think very important in the home, because when I was in young and in a school and the college, so I always watch my mom actions, what she's doing, how she's reacting, how she is applying new things, how she is reacting in the tough situation and the cool and the happier situation. So that thing I always learn from my mom experience side, and then I thought, oh, I also become like same now in this age, like my mom.
Mhm.
This thing
Yeah.
is very important and very strong values we are learning from our home. And these, and you know what I learned from my these values, my best friend, he always come in my home, he stay my home, I went his home. So he said in my school or college time, whenever I stay in your home, your room, you know what I learned, your good thing, whenever I have seen, whenever we go party and outside, and when you reach home, so you always carry your shoe in the very right direction, the shoe rack, you fold your clothes in the very good direction. And so I said this thing I learned from my mom's side. She always said whenever you go, you carry your clothes in a very right direction. You don't mess around, you throw.
Ah.
So these things we never realize. Oh my God, we learn these so many good things once you go out in this
Mm,
world.
mm, mm. And Marian, I just want to comment on your what you said about being open-minded as adults, being open to learning from our children, being open to learning from younger people, right? Just observing them. And um I'm always, I love to learn, and I'm sure I'll be that way till the day I die. But it's that open mind piece. Like so many people shut their minds and say, no, I know everything and I'm not going to learn from anybody else, right? And that's not good. I mean, that in itself is ego, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think it's ego driven, right? When you are somebody that is always thriving to learn more and to grow more, and I think that's one of the reasons why we're coming together here, because the learning is never done. The growing is never done.
Yeah.
You can never get it done. It will always be. And once you realize that, it changes everything. And then, that what's so fascinating with children is that the purity is what fascinates me the most. And like with ours, one of the things, like they don't really watch TV. I mean, we don't have TV at home. We watch a movie here and there, but we don't have the TV on or anything. So they're very creative in their way of their fantasy, or they come up with like a poem or, you know, a song or a dance or whatever. So they have a lot of fantasy with that. And they really have this desire to tap into their intuition and their, you know, what works for them, right? What makes their routines and their life exciting. And so being able to tap into that intuition is something that I find the older we get, we have so many things we're complying to. We are told this is what's right, what's wrong, how things are being done, how we should be behaving, like all these different norms and regulations we somehow have to fit into, just from a society standpoint, that these children, they seem to me very happy when they come into this world, right? They're happy as happy can be. And then suddenly we try and shape them. So it's, you know, one of those things that just I find personally very inspirational and very fascinating to see that, and perhaps taking that step back and tapping into that a bit more myself. And having more of a mix of what do I teach you, what do you teach me, and making this a two-way street.
And allowing it to happen. Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. Great conversation. Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybach music. Can anybody out there hear me?